It's a common problem known to man to wonder, how did we get here? Why are we here? And even beyond that, why does anything exist at all? Now, some, like me, believe in God. Others look to a naturalistic explanation for our existence. So in this video, I'm going to try to make the best case for the naturalistic atheist view that I can, given my limited knowledge. So let's see what happens. The biggest challenge to the naturalistic explanation seems to be the overwhelming probability against it happening. Getting chemicals together in just the right balance to have life, or even to have from a Big Bang the right properties such that stars can even form. And in the general theory of today, stars are the origin of everything else. So if you don't have any stars, you don't have anything else. And it's well established that the laws of physics seem very fine-tuned to allow that to happen. And it seems, well, that's a very, very low probability that could just be by chance. So what do we do about that? Because of these overwhelming probabilities, people have thrown out ideas about things like a multiverse, where there are an infinite number, a very large number, or an infinite number of parallel universes to this one in the same space, or that the universe itself is actually infinitely large and there can be multiple universe, quote, bubbles within that infinitely large universe. I find it much easier to understand the infinitely large universe idea than the parallel in the same space idea. So I'm going to go with that one. They're basically the same solution, and I'll describe how that's a solution. Scientists are confident that they have calculated more or less correctly that there was a Big Bang 13 to 14 billion years ago, and that everything is developed that we can observe is developed in that time. So if naturalism is correct, Big Bangs can happen at some frequency, whether that's once every gazillion years or not. In an infinitely large universe, if the probability of a Big Bang occurring at a given place in time is something greater than zero, in an infinitely large space, that means that there are Big Bangs going on all the time. Every instant there's an infinite number of Big Bangs, therefore an infinite number of new universes, therefore an infinite number of already existing in progress universes, and these are going on all the time. So if that's true, then we can't argue that something being extremely improbable means that it can't happen. If you have an infinite number of chances to do something that's a gazillion to one odds, eventually that gazillion to one is going to work out because you've got way more than a gazillion universes to work with. So infinite space and a probability of a Big Bang occurring at a given place in time is some number greater than zero. That's two things. A third thing I think is needed is that each universe can have a different set of laws of physics. If all the laws of physics are the same in all the gazillions of universes, then we haven't gotten through the problem of why is this set of laws of physics good enough to create stars and to create anything from stars. So the third thing I think is needed is each universe gets its own set of laws of physics. So if that's true, then there's an infinite set of laws of physics in this infinite space with these infinite Big Bangs and infinite universes. Now, of course, this is all speculation. If there are these other universes out there, they're too far away for us to detect them through scientific means. So we have the same problem that there is with trying to, quote, detect God using science. We can't detect these other universes either. So if I'm arguing for naturalism and atheism, I have no scientific basis to ask you to believe in them any more than you, with me taking the role of the atheist, and if you're taking the role of a believer in God, then you have the ability to say you've detected God through scientific means. We're we both have the same problem. And neither of us can touch the question of why is there something rather than nothing? Why does anything exist at all? The atheist model has no basis to say why there's this infinite space, why there's these laws of physics, why these big bangs can occur. And the believers have no way to explain why is there a God at all. We have the same problem. So that's the best model that I have, that if I were making an argument for atheism, that I would make. That the actual universe is of infinite size, that big bangs can and do occur at some frequency greater than 0. Laws of physics are different in each universe. And so given an infinite number of chances, we can overcome gazillions to 1 odds. So I'm going to call this infinitely large universe that we're imagining here the Infiniverse. In the Infiniverse, anything that can happen is happening somewhere. In fact, an infinite somewheres in the Infiniverse. So I'm taking this walk an infinite number of times other places. It's 5 minutes ago in this walk an infinite number of places right now, and every other time ago, every time frame in this universe in the past, whether you're talking about signing the Declaration of Independence, the birth of Christ, or other things that Doc Brown might have imagined in Back to the Future, those are all happening at the same time in at least one, actually an infinite number each of universes. Boggles the mind that that's true. True in the Infiniverse, if such a thing really does exist. It's also helpful to note that some infinities are bigger than others. If you think about all the positive whole numbers, there's an infinite number of those. But between each pair of whole numbers, there's an infinite number of irrational numbers and fractional numbers. So if you think, I'm going to put all the whole numbers in one set and all those other numbers in another set, they're both infinite, but if I put them both together into one and I pick a random one, the probability that I'm going to hit one of those whole numbers is 0. I'm guaranteed in this combined set to pick one of the fractional or irrational numbers. In fact, I would say I'm guaranteed to pick the irrational number. Consequently, in the Infiniverse, if I want to go try to find another quote universe that's identical to this one at a different time frame or whatever, the probability of me finding that is 0, because there's a much larger infinity of other universes. In fact, I would say that the set of completely useless universes in which the Big Bang resulted in nothing other than chaos is the infinitely large set analogous to the irrational numbers. There's an infinite set of universes where someone actually did manage to shoot Hitler and prevent the Holocaust, and in an infinite set of those, the world became a whole lot better, a whole lot less people were murdered for that. But in another infinite set, we didn't learn the lessons that we learned from Hitler, and things are much worse. In some of those, Stalin took over the world. So to sum up, within the Infiniverse, if such a thing exists, there's an infinite set of each type of universe that we might want to imagine, all going on at the same time and at different stages, at all stages. It just boggles the mind what's going on in this imagined Infiniverse. Is that what we live in? Do we live in one universe within an Infiniverse? Is there another me making this video in an infinite number of other universes, and another me taking this walk but not making videos, or another me who's not taking walks, or another me who is in prison because he committed crimes that I wouldn't even consider committing? Or you can keep imagining things. Anything you imagine that's possible is going on, has gone on, and will go on in the Infiniverse.